Hey, this is WhyBeAre with some BeaMNG science. Now, previously I did a video where I compared two cars, one with deflated tires, one with inflated tires, and I didn't really like the way I did the off-road comparison because there was a lot of feel-based things. It's like, I think this feels a little better, it might bounce a little, it's not science enough. So we're bringing some science into this thing. We're going to go to insane testing so I could do some science. So I'm going to test two things in specific that'll be for off-roading, and then one of my viewers asked about how top speed is affected with flat tires, so we'll do that as well afterwards. But first what we're going to do is we're going to bring a truck over to this place in insane testing because it has these wide pits of dirt, which are great for testing a car's ability to drive through deep sand pits. So in real life, if you were to try to drive through this kind of area, you would have a real lack of traction, and what you would do to get more traction is you would deflate the tires, right? So what you would do in real life, you would hit deflate tires, and that would help you get a little more traction and get through it a little bit better. We're going to test if that's the case in BeaMNG.drive. So to do that, I'm going to actually line this truck up right about there. And we're not going to use this truck because this would be too unbearably slow. So we're going to set that truck there. And we're going to get another truck and put them side by side, and we're going to race them off at the exact same time. And we'll see what happens. So then we're going to make them both the off-road version. So we're going to make this one the off-road version and this one the off-road version, just so they have more traction and more horsepower, so they get through this faster, so you're not waiting forever for this test. So, how are you going to make them race at the same time? Well, it's going to be almost the same time. It's going to be like within a tenth of a second, you know? And, let's see. We're going to have the right car with deflated tires. So you see, I hit the deflate tires button. You can't really tell that the tires are deflated because it's in the thick sand. But this one on the right will have deflated tires. We're going to put it at 100 times slower than real life. Hold the accelerator. Go to the other one. Hold the accelerator as well. And you see, they barely have both moved. The advantage that one car has over the other is so minimal, it really wouldn't mean much. So here we go. They're both racing off the exact same pace. And you see, the one on the right is faster. Now you could say, oh, well, maybe the sand pit was biased to that direction, or I could have taken that one off faster than the other one. But you see, they are fully lined up pretty much perfect. So we're going to do it the exact opposite way now. We're going to put it as still 100 times slow-mo, but, well, actually, let's make it full speed to make sure the tires have time to deflate. But the one on the left will have the deflated tires, and it'll be the one that takes off second, to make sure that there's no bias in terms of how the ground is laid out or which car gets to start off first. So this one's going to start off first. We're going to go boom, go to this one, boom, same thing. And if everything goes the way you would expect, the one on the left should and is faster through the sand. And just to check that this one has flat tires, you can make them both come to a complete stop. And it should be visible that these tires are flat or at least deflated a lot more. And you can see they are. Look at how flat it sits on the ground on those tires compared to this one where the tires are really rounded. It's obvious that the one that was faster is in fact the one with the flat tires. So it can be confirmed that if you do the deflate tires button in an environment that is mostly sand, it will improve your traction and you will be able to go faster. So next test is kind of a way to simulate rock climbing. I need to take a quick break and then I'll be with you. Alright, sorry for that quick pause. I had to figure out exactly what map I was going to. So like I said, I'm going to simulate rock climbing with flat tires versus inflated tires. Now the reason I say simulate is because we're not going to actually do rock climbing. Because if I was behind the real wheel in a rock climbing event, I would not be able to consistently do the same thing with two different vehicles. So the only way to be able to make it a scientific test is if we're able to do something that's consistent. To do that, we're going to go to Ultimate Test Terrain because it has stairs. And the stairs you can line up in a very consistent way and do the same test with multiple car configurations as a way to determine if it actually helps or not. So we're going to use the same truck, the off-road edition of the gravel. So here we go. What we're going to do to test is we're going to have this one with the fully inflated tires. We're going to basically roll it up to here, put the wheels on the first step, and just lean it on the first step. And then we're going to hit hard on the throttle and just see what happens. And then we're going to do the same thing with deflated tires. So you see right here, it's going up the stairs. It worked okay. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with deflated tires and see if that improves it. Because this is basically simulating a rock climbing environment. It's just much more consistent. At least that's the way I see it. It's not a true rock climbing environment, but if there's a difference, you would see it here. So we're going to do the same thing, just line the wheels up and then accelerate. Now you see, this one was actually, although it started at the start because the front bumper is lower and it hit the stair, you could see it really got up those stairs much faster than the one with the inflated tires. You could really tell, aside from that quick stutter it had because the bumper was lower, so the bumper scraped. You could see it. So I'll do it again, both one time more each, just because, you know, with science and all, you want to do everything twice or more just to make sure it's consistent. So same idea, we're going to bump it up and then we're going to accelerate. See, even with the inflated tires, this one managed to bump the front bumper on something because it's a little too low. And look at it, it's real, you can see it's struggling to get up that thing. Now we're going to deflate the tires and do the same thing once again and see what happens. So we go boom, and again you can see it's obviously that this one is faster. I don't even need a timer to tell me that. The one with the deflated tires is obviously faster in a simulated environment, which would lead me to believe if you were to do off-roading in BeaMNG.drive where you're climbing rocks or in deep sand, you will be at an advantage if you hit the deflate tires button prior to doing so, because you will have improved traction and just it'll work much better. At least that's what the conclusion I'm coming to. If anybody has any problems with the testing methods I use and would know of a way that might work better, feel free to suggest them, but this is the best idea I could personally come up with. So now we're going to do a top speed test because that is what one of my viewers asked to see. And to do that, we'll just go to grid map and hold the accelerator down on two cars that are identical and see what happens. Nice, easy, scientific method, you know? I mean, scientific method, first we need to find a hypothesis and blah blah. No, we're just going to do straight to testing. Okay, not quite scientific method. It's the WhyBeAre method. Screw hypothesis, let's just see what happens. That's the way to do it. So I'm going to bring out another car, and the important thing is to bring out the car first. It's weird that sounds, because when you change the type of car, like if I said let's just use the off-road, it actually moves the car up a bit, so it wouldn't be a fair race. You see, it's like, oh man, that one's faster. Or it's going to look faster because it's ahead. So then we do the same thing for both. Boom. And we're going to do the same idea where we have the red and the right will be deflated tires, 100 times slower, and this is obviously flat. You don't need to do a test on the left and the right. So we're going to boom, hold the accelerator on this one, boom, hold the accelerator on that one, go back to this one, and real time, and we're going to see what happens. Unfortunately, the car pulled to the left, so both of them actually pulled to the left. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to just let them pull to the left and see what happens. Because that's the only option I really got in this situation. So 100 times slower. Oh, first we should deflate tires. Deflate tires, then 100 times slower. Accelerator, accelerator, and go. So they're going to pull to the left, and hopefully it'll still be scientific. Alright, well, interestingly enough, the one with full tires pull to the left more. I don't know what that means, but they've both been accelerating in a mostly straight line for a while, and we see this one is at 84, 85 miles per hour so far, and it's kind of stabilized at 85 miles per hour, I would say, right? I mean, okay, it's accelerating, but it's so slow. You might as well consider 86 to be its top speed. Now, the other car, it's going 120. It's flying, dude. So, when you have flat tires, it significantly reduces your top speed, at least your usable top speed. I mean, sure, if you wait long enough, you might be able to get up to the same speed, but the amount of time you would have to wait is extremely long. Like this one right here, we're just going 115, 120, right? With no problems at all. This one, it's still accelerating up to 95. So, you know, it reduces the acceleration so badly, I would say it affects the top speed, because I don't see it go. I mean, it's like, oh, now we're 96. So I would say deflated tires will also reduce your top speed. And that is, I guess that's what I would expect. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, yeah, because you would have more rubber touching the ground, so you have more friction. So it would be, you could assume that the top speed would be lower. And you see, the other car's topped out at 120, and this one's just, maybe 96 is where it tops out, actually. So that is the second part of the deflated tire test. I'm thinking if there's anything else I might need to add to this. And right now I can't think of anything, so I'm going to go and say it. Until next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya, and if there's something after this, it's because I thought of something else to test, and well, after I recorded this, because I didn't think of it. So, you know, if there's more video, just keep watching. Alright, so I just did a quick test, and it turns out only some of the cars actually have ABS. And like I said, I saw the lights come on the other one, so I think it has ABS. But this one, as you can see, it does not have ABS. You hit the brakes hard, and it just, well, it doesn't have ABS, is all I can say, because the light doesn't come on. So we're going to use this car instead. It's the Bruckle Moonhawk V8 Special. So this one will be with the deflated tires, and hopefully it'll be able to get up to the speed that we need. Hopefully. We'll see if it does. So, this is the second part of the test, one without ABS, to kind of get that out of the way, because that could influence the conclusion we come to, you know? So, put it on automatic to get it up to speed. And this is the deflated tires version, like I said. Make sure it is. And we gotta go on the right side of the road here. Alright, we might have to do this one at a slightly lower speed, because this thing seems to be about topping out at 65. Alright, so this test will be from 65. I'm let up on the gas just a bit. Boom. Cross the yellow lines. Manual on. And we're going to just put it to neutral. Just to make it not roll or anything. Full speed. No ABS light whatsoever. And it kind of swerved on its own. But it did not touch the wall as far as I know. So that will not mess with the results. Now we're going to do the same thing. Interestingly enough, from 65, that thing stops. Just not that good, you know? I should do a thing where it's like, if you guys would be interested, I could do a thing where it's like we test every car in a different, and to see which ones have good brakes and which ones have bad brakes. That might be interesting. I don't know. You guys could tell me if you'd be interested in something like that. So we're going to use, like I said, the same version of this thing, the V8 Special. And this one will be the one with the inflated tires. I'll reset it once I get there after crashing it right there. Whoops. So don't worry about the crash, I'll reset it. Because like I said, the ABS, I don't know how ABS would react to having flat tires. And I don't know how it would react in real life or in the game, so I just want to get that out of the way and not part of this test to get a more conclusive result. Alright, so this is the normal one. The speed I did at was 65, 66, right in there. So we're going to do the same thing here. Alright, got it nice and holding the speed well. Turn it just a bit left so we don't touch that wall. Alright, 65, looks close to 65, get on it a little harder. Alright, 65, 66, brake, manual, and neutral. And hopefully this thing doesn't hit the wall. Alright, now without ABS, I would say the results are a little more interesting. You can tell that in this circumstance, the one on the left stopped faster than the one on the right. The one on the left with the deflated tires did manage to stop a little bit faster without ABS. Now the problem is here, there's always the margin of error type of thing from the driver. So what I'm saying here is it might make you stop ever so slightly faster. But the amount that you stop faster is not going to be noticeable. What you're going to notice is the deceleration is going to be worse for sure. But the stopping distance, I don't know if you'll be able to notice, you know, that much of a distance unless you're really paying attention for it. And with science, you always want to do everything twice. So unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I want to do this one more time to make sure everything is as scientifically as possible. And we're going to use manual transmission from start to finish this time, just in case it caused any problems on the first run. So this is the deflated tire one. Maybe we could get it up to 70 this time, actually. How weird. Because I'm not shifting it, so I can get it up to 70 this time even. Higher speed should give you better results. So let me just see how fast I can get this thing going. And maybe we can do even 75, because higher speeds will get you better results, because science. I can't explain it. Let's see. Higher speeds will get you better results because it'll make things bigger. So the stopping distance difference will be more visible. It shouldn't matter what speed you stop from. But it might make it more visible, the difference. We'll see. Alright, so this thing's going about, what is it, 80? Call it, let's let up on the throttle just a bit and call it 80. So we're going to call this 80 miles per hour, and we're going to, unfortunately the car might be a little crooked, well. So right as the tires touch it, we're going to, did I hit 100 times slower? Maybe. Yep. Oh well, nothing wrong with that, extra precision, right? Car was not straight though. You can see that, right? And then we're going to shift it to neutral, just in case there was any sort of like engine braking on the other test. That's what we're doing it. We're going to hold it in third, and then, well, you see, we're going to do the exact same thing basically. Because the other one, doing it in the first run, that was a great one to get an idea of things. And after seeing it, I think of ideas of how to make it better. So we're going to do it again from, I think it was 80. So we got to get up to speed a little bit more. Oh goodness, the slow-mo didn't work. It says 8 times slower right there, but it didn't work. Oh, that's annoying. You can tell just by the way the car's revving it's not slower. Why does it do this sometimes? I think if I reset it, it'll... Alright, now it's okay. So we gotta do that again, unfortunately, because as you saw, I didn't slow-mo. And I was waiting for the slow-mo, and I was like, wait a minute. And it's too late. Manual, and try it one more time, because science, man, it's all about that repetition. Alright, slow-mo, gotta pull the speed up just a bit more. I'm trying to make sure I don't get on the speed too hard or anything where the speed might be miscalculated due to wheel spin. There's only so much I can do. We'll go ahead and do it super slow-mo, right as the wheels are right fully on it. And the speed was a little bit lower than the other one, I will say that. But look at that. That's unexpected. Even though the speed was a little bit lower, it did go out farther. So I would say, after those tests, my conclusion is that yes, braking speed or braking distance is lowered with flat tires, but it's very, very marginal. Like I said, it's one of those things where I don't know if you'll notice it, especially if there's ABS. With ABS, it might not be a difference. Without ABS, there is a bit of a difference because ABS isn't messing with you. So, what's funny though is that doesn't look, the way it brakes, like the way it like has the bumps and the marks. That's like how ABS braking should look, not. Right? If you have ABS braking, it looks like skid mark. When your brakes lock up, though, which would be what should have happened there, it should be just be skid, which is kind of weird and unexpected. But I don't know, man. I'm just trying to do some science here. That's my conclusion. That's what I have to say. And if you have any more questions about some sciencey stuff, I like doing these videos. They're cool. They're just something different, And I feel like I've come to conclusions on both of these, that off-roading, definitely want to deflate the tires under most circumstances. And in this circumstance, to brake, it's not worth it, but you could. So, till next time, this is WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.